The classroom was filled with the sound of chalk scraping against the board as Mr. Reynolds, an old-school teacher with little patience, lectured his students. Among them sat a quiet boy named Daniel, his head lowered, doodling on the edge of his notebook. Mr. Reynolds noticed and scowled. "Daniel," he barked, making the boy jump. "Did you even hear what I just said? Or is that little drawing more important than your education?" The entire class turned to stare. Daniel mumbled an apology, but it wasn't enough. Mr. Reynolds smirked. "I swear, you're absolutely useless in this class. I don't know why you even bother showing up." Laughter erupted from the other students, making Daniel sink lower in his seat. In the back of the room, a tall figure shifted slightly. Clint Eastwood, who had been sitting quietly as a guest observer for the day, narrowed his eyes. He had seen many things in his lifetime, but an adult publicly humiliating a child was something he wouldn't tolerate. The air in the room felt heavier as he leaned forward, studying the teacher intently. Something was about to change. The atmosphere in the classroom had shifted. Clint Eastwood's piercing gaze locked onto Mr. Reynolds, making the teacher slightly uneasy. He cleared his throat, pretending not to notice. "All right, back to the lesson, those who actually care, anyway," he muttered, casting another glance at Daniel. But before he could continue, Clint finally spoke. "Mind if I say something?" His deep, steady voice cut through the room, silencing the whispers and giggles. Mr. Reynolds turned, forcing a smile. "Of course, Mr. Eastwood. I didn't mean to keep you waiting." Clint stood up, his movements slow yet deliberate. He walked over to Daniel's desk, picking up the notebook. Instead of criticizing, he examined the sketches with genuine interest. "These are good, kid. Really good," he said, holding the drawings up for the class to see. "You ever think about being an artist?" Daniel's eyes widened. I just draw for fun," he said quietly. Clint nodded. Some of the greatest talents in the world started that way. The class watched in stunned silence, while Mr. Reynolds fidgeted uncomfortably. He had just been outshined in his own classroom, and he knew it. Clint Eastwood placed the notebook gently back on Daniel's desk before turning to the class. "You know, I've met a lot of people in my life. Some were told they'd never make it, that they were useless," he said, his voice steady. "Do you know what happened to them?" The students leaned in, intrigued. Clint let the question hang in the air for a moment before answering. "They proved everyone wrong." He turned back to Daniel. "Kid, don't let anyone tell you that you're worthless. Not even a teacher." Mr. Reynolds stiffened. "Now, wait just a minute," he began, but Clint cut him off with a raised hand. "Teaching isn't just about giving information. It's about inspiring. Encouraging. If all you do is break a kid's spirit, then what's the point?" The class murmured in agreement. Mr. Reynolds, caught off guard, had no response. Daniel sat a little taller in his seat, his confidence slowly returning. The energy in the room had changed. It was no longer filled with ridicule, but with something stronger, hope. As the class ended, students whispered excitedly about what had just happened. Mr. Reynolds avoided Clint's gaze, shuffling his papers and pretending to be busy. Daniel hesitated before approaching Clint. "Thank you," he said softly. "For standing up for me." Clint gave a small smile. "Listen, kid. People like to talk, but that doesn't mean they're right. You keep drawing. Keep working hard. One day, they'll see what you're really capable of." Daniel nodded, his heart swelling with newfound determination. As Clint walked toward the door, Mr. Reynolds finally found his voice. "Mr. Eastwood," he said, forcing a polite tone. "That was quite the speech." Clint turned slightly. "Not a speech. Just the truth." With that, he stepped out, leaving the classroom buzzing with the realization that something had shifted. Daniel would never be the same again. The days that followed were different. Mr. Reynolds, though still strict, seemed to think twice before belittling his students. Daniel, once quiet and withdrawn, now carried himself with confidence. He spent more time sketching, eventually entering an art contest, and winning. News of his talent spread, and soon, opportunities came knocking. Years later, at a prestigious art gallery, Daniel stood before a crowd, showcasing his work. Among the guests was an older man with a sharp, knowing gaze, Clint Eastwood. Their eyes met, and Daniel grinned. "I never forgot what you told me," he said, shaking Clint's hand. Clint nodded. "I knew you had it in you, kid." The crowd applauded as Daniel's paintings were unveiled. His journey had come full circle. And it all started with a single moment, when someone finally believed in him. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so you never miss another inspiring tale.